Today on Belmont Park Live, will Stormy Victoria's patented late closing kick overpower the field in the Grade 3 Intercontinental? Significant form has been sensational for champion trainer Chad Brown with her only defeat to her stablemate in the Breeders' Cup. She'll try for a second graded stakes win in the Wonder again. And the Derby and Preakness winner has arrived along with his trainer. We'll have the latest on Justified, his first spin over the Belmont Park surface, coming up next on Belmont Park Live. Welcome to the show. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Great to have you with us for the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival kicking off this afternoon. Racing gets progressively more important race by race and day by day here. Greg Wolf alongside former New York Met, LA Dodger, Paul LaDuca, New York Racing Association handicapper, Andy Serling. 3 stakes coming up on our show this afternoon, and we see the return of significant form. Her 2018 debut, sensational for Chad Brown.
Yeah, and he showed him her colors, or his colors, at Saratoga, the gray, and got disqualified. Was very unfortunate that day, and then came back at Aqueduct and was absolutely dominant in his last start.
No, she was actually terrific in her last start. There's an argument to be made that one of the best races she ever ran was her 4th place finish in the Breeders' Cup when she sort of paved the way for the winner, another horse in Chad Brown's barn. But it's not an easy race. This is a very strong field.
Gonna have to beat a couple of stablemates in that group as well, but she is the one to beat. Here's a look at the races we have coming up. Race 5 will kick off the Naira Bets late pick 5, by the way. Mile and 3/8 over the inner turf. Race 6, we have 2-year-old fillies in the Astoria. That's 7th, Grade 3 Intercontinental. Race 8 is where we will see significant form, 1 of 3 from the Chad Brown barn, going 1 mile and 1/8 over the inner turf. Track conditions brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on, pests gone. Main track is fast. Turf condition is firm for today's action. Race number 5, again, 1 mile and 3/8 over the inner turf. Allowance optional claiming field. And right now, fairly wide open group as you look at the field right there. We'll talk more about everybody coming up in just a moment. First, we're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale and Gabby Gaudet.
And Greg, we actually have horses leaving the paddock here as we'll take a look at a few coming in off of their respective layoffs, and that includes number 3 in here, Red Knight, a very accomplished New York bred in only 4 starts. He has won 3 of them with just a 2nd place finish in his debut and getting on the turf. He is undefeated. Now, this is a pretty brave distance to come back in off an extended layoff, but I will say that Red Knight has gotten taller and leggier, and to me that just says, yeah, he can handle 1 mile and 3/8. He looks really fit here for his conditioner in Belmont, and Belmont does know how to get these kind of long distance turf horses ready to fire off of breaks. Another one coming in off of a layoff is number 4 Holiday Bonus for trainer Graham Motion. He looks great too. He looks fit. He's dappled head to toe. Just all signs that you want to see from a horse coming in off of a freshening. And then moving on to number 8, Gauguin for Belmont as well. He is the lukewarm favorite as of now, and he does get Lasix for the first time in his career. It's kind of interesting that he's been in this country for 4 starts now, and they give it to him this time around. He ran very well, I think, last time out in the same field as Devamani, and once again, this horse just looks a picture here in the paddock. We'll see if he moves forward off of that effort last time out. 2nd off the bench here, as we will check back in with you guys for a post parade.
Maggie, thank you very much. That report brought to you by Hillendale Farm, standing curling for $150,000. We have our post parade coming up. Look at Sam the Bugler and the call to post. We will begin with Eastport here in just a moment. Christophe Clement has the first 2 horses breaking right next door to each other. Eastport coming in from Aqueduct, trying the turf for the first time.
Yeah, he doesn't have a plethora of turf pedigree, but what he has is speed, which, if nothing else, could help the other Christophe Clement runner, the 2 Devamani.
And Devamani on cue. Ran against Gauguin last time out, and this will be the 3rd start in the States.
Yeah, and when you look at this Ridgeling's resume, not a bad race on it, 1 for 8 lifetime.
Red Knight. This will be the 4-year-old debut for the Belmont trainee, undefeated over turf.
The positive for his turf races, each one is better than the one before. The negative is it's a 1 3/8, coming off a 7-month layoff, and his pedigree says he does not want this much distance.
4-horse holiday bonus, Jose Ortiz aboard for Graham Motion. This will be the 4-year-old debut.
Yeah, 1 for 13 lifetime. He tries hard. He just doesn't really love the winner's circle.
Bird's Eye View crossed the wire first last time out, only to get DQ'd at Keeneland.
Yeah, he came from way out of it in launch, but he did interfere with one of his rivals. Let's see what he can do today. Jose Lascano in the irons.
Michael Dickinson trains the 7 Glad Moon. Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Michael Dickinson, the mad genius, has one that would make him an even bigger genius if he can get him to win here.
Go Gan is the 8 first-time Lasix, trained by Belmont.
Yeah, and you look 3 back. He lost a horse called Rocketry. We're going to see him in the Belmont Gold Cup, the 2-mile race. He's the deserved favorite here at 5-2.
I'm the captain now. Dylan Davis rides for Barclay Tag, comes in off a maiden score.
He's run races going long. They're good enough to be competitive, and he finally broke his maiden last time, and sometimes they like winning.
Chateau de Vizille for King Leatherberry comes in from Pimlico.
Drew dreaded 12 posts last time, and I thought ran okay. Maybe can outrun his odds today again at 26-1.
And Uncle Gio on the outside. He has won 2 of his last 3 for Michelle Nevin.
He's run well enough going long in the distant past to suggest he can handle it, and he ran okay last time, but it's not a great post.
Again, this race kicks off the Naira Bets late pick 5. You want to get signed up and started. The only way to play that Naira Bets late pick 5 if you are not in the state of New York is through Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com. New member sign up bonus. You'll get $200 in your account when you bet $200. Use the promo code LIVE to take advantage. Go to nairabets.com. How are you going to play it, Paul?
Well, listen, I'm going to all this race. And listen, you probably don't need to. The 6 and the 10 were the 2 horses. I didn't want to go all but 2. 1, 7, 8 in the next race. Wonderstone. Signori, I think it's going to be tough in there. 7-10 with all the scratches out of the Intercontinental. Lady Alexandra is a big scratch out of there. Stormy Victoria might be tough in there. I am signaling Significant Storm, the Grace, daughter of Creative Cause. I think she's the class in there. And he's right. That is a tough field. And then race number 9, the 1 and the 4. The 4 will probably be your favorite for Chad Brown. The 6 will probably take some money. But I think the 1 will improve for Brian Lynch and Joelle Rosario.
Belmont has a real tough 1-2 punch, including this horse right here, Go Gan. He's with Gabby Gaudet right now.
That's right, Greg. A very tough 1-2 punch, but we'll start with one of them, and Goggin. And Bill, talk to me a little bit about his last race. Overall thoughts of that one.
I thought it was pretty good. You know, he was fresh coming off a long layoff, and he laid up close to the pace, maybe made the lead a little bit early, and, you know, just, you know, got a little short right on the wire. Either that or he got outrun, one of the two. But it was a good race. It was a very good effort. I mean, it's always good to see him show up, you know, after they've come off a layoff.
We're talking about layoffs. Red Knight, he's all leg, it seems like, in the paddock, a very long and leggy type of horse. He hasn't been seen since November. How's he been doing in the time being?
He's been doing well. Now, actually, you know, we were looking for a race that was a little shorter, actually. We were looking for a race that was like 9 furlongs. We got rained out the last time he was in. He was in a 1 1/16 race, and we probably would have brought him back at a little shorter distance. But it just seemed like if we didn't get going somewhere, you know, we were going to be running out of time for the rest of the year. And you know, the next race that was coming up was a flat mile. So we opted for this. I think at the end of the day, I think he'll be fine going, you know, 10 or 11 furlongs. But, you know, we'll find out today.
Well, the buzz horse surely has been Hofburg leading into the Belmont Stakes. A buzz horse other than, obviously, Justify. What could you tell us about Hofburg and kind of how he's developed since the Kentucky Derby?
Well, he's held his own. I don't think we've seen a lot of changes. I was very pleased with the way he went into the Kentucky Derby. I mean, I thought he looked good, was moving well. His works were very good. And we actually went into the race thinking we had a good chance. I think we didn't get the great trip. We didn't get the golden trip that you'd like to have. And I think that's probably what he would have needed to win the race or be on the board. I think, he got stopped a little bit had to steady from the 3/8 pole to the quarter pole and lost a little ground, and by then the race was just over for him. But, you know, we're looking for maybe a little bit of a better trip on Saturday, hopefully. I mean, you know, you never know what's going to happen, but we think he's a quality horse, and, you know, should be a good competitor in the race. He's he's trained well since then. His works have been good, and he actually seems to be quite relaxed here at Belmont. He was a little stronger in his gallops at Churchill Downs, which a lot of horses are, but he seems to be a little bit more relaxed here, which is probably a good thing going into a 1.5-mile race.
He looks fantastic coming into the Belmont. Best of luck coming up next, though.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Greg.
Gabby, thank you very much. So right now it is Gauguin 9-5 on the board. Red Knight, who is undefeated. Meanwhile, 3 horse at 7-2. But let's start with Gauguin. And what did you see in that last performance that made you think he's the one to beat here?
I think it's close between him and the 2 Devamani, to be honest, because he was attending a pretty moderate pace. Maybe Paul first-time Lasix will help him, but he is a horse that's got 8 seconds and thirds and 12 career starts and just the 1 win.
You make a great point. You really do. And sometimes these type of horses, they lose races by necks and they win races, although he did win by 7. But when you have those close margins, horses, they just like to stick around, don't really like to put their rivals away.
Right. As we switch to the 2 Devamani, watching their last race, Devamani was badly compromised by what was a very slow pace and a pace that worked in the favor of the 8 Gauguin. And I don't want to criticize Joelle Rosario, who I think is a great rider, and he was saving ground, and he really didn't have much choice. But deep closers, I don't think you want to try to close in the inside as Devamani did, and I think he'll be much better if he can get an outside run in the stretch.
You make a good point. He's got the best kick in here. He really came home nicely, especially being off such a long layoff. And then he came back, and he actually moved forward. He actually could have bounced. And if you look back in Europe, he's actually a better horse when they go longer. They're going a little bit longer today.
Meanwhile, the 4, here's Graham Motion's Holiday Bonus. He'll be making his 4-year-old debut. He's the son of Harlan's Holiday.
When I look at him, I think this is the kind of horse, Graham Motion has very good numbers off layoffs. I feel like Holiday Bonus is a wild card to price near because he was improving as a 3-year-old, and maybe he's ready to take that step forward off a 4-year-old, but he is going 11 furlongs, a 1 3/8 off of a layoff.
Just a minute to post. Again, this race kicks off the Naira Bets late pick 5 with more in the field. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
And touching on the 2 inside runners, both of which coming out of the Christophe Clement barn. And I know they're different ownership groups, but as Andy kind of alluded to, it seems as though there's a possibility that Eastport in here might be a bit of a rabbit for his stablemate in Devamani. And he got a very vigorous warm-up. He actually ran off for a bit. He was fighting his rider to actually pull up. And sometimes you will see that with horses coming back off layoffs. They're just a little bit too fresh. So I don't like that for his case, but maybe he will provide some pace for Devamani in here, who is 3rd off a layoff. Sometimes horses do fire their best effort then. As you heard Andy say, he was a bit compromised in the running of that race, and he might get the right setup he needs here again today because physically overall, guys, he looked tremendous. It was really between Devamani and Gauguin as far as looks were concerned in the paddock. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. So, mark of approval for the 2 Devamani from Maggie in here, 7-2 on the board.
I'm with Maggie on that one. It's a big, you can tell it's a big race day up here when Hall of Fame trainers come to the set to visit us.
And we're just off camera here. Nick Zito have had all kinds of success in the Triple Crown. We'd love to need more time on the show to get him to maybe be a guest here.
I think he should sit with us the entire show.
An extra chair.
He's one of the few people that wears a Yankee hat that I would love to sit down and interview.
Spoiled a couple of Triple Crowns with Birdstone and Datara in the Belmont Stakes. Loading up here. This will kick off the Naira Bets late pick 5 Gauguin moving into the gate. 8-5 favorite, 1-2 in the race for the Hall of Famer Belmont. Let's send it upstairs for the call to the voice of the Triple Crown. Here's Larry Colmus.
I'm the captain now, has moved into the starting gate, so we've got 2 left to load. Chateau de Vizille and Uncle Gio to complete the line now. Uncle Gio steps forward, goes in. They're all in line. They're off. Red Knight hopped in the air as the gates opened, And it's going to be Bird's Eye View to go out to the early lead with Eastport on the inside away well. These two out to the front together, and Holiday Bonus is away running in third, 2 lengths off of them as they crawl through the opening fractions here. Gauguin follows in fourth. On the outside is Chateau de Vizille, who's going up, and now up to engage the front runners. And then it's Red Knight running along in mid-pack here. Devamani's down on the inside. Uncle Gio is there too, along with Glad Moon. And last of them all is I'm the Captain Now. That first quarter mile, 23.95 seconds as they make their way around the clubhouse turn. Bird's Eye View is the leader. On top by a length, Eastport follows in second position to the backstretch. Holiday Bonus is third on the outside. Red Knight fourth down toward the hedge. Then Chateau de Vizille on the outside of Gauguin. Break of another 2, and then it is Uncle Gio racing on the outside of Devamani, who's 7 lengths off the pace and hugging the hedge to the backstretch. Glad Moon is next on the outside, and I'm the Captain Now. 50.9 was the first half mile. Up the backstretch they go. And Bird's Eye View and Holiday Bonus are 1-2, and just off them is Red Knight third on the inside. Gauguin fourth in between horses. Eastport is next on the outside, racing 3 lengths off the lead, 3/4 up in 1:15.77 seconds. And then comes Glad Moon, Chateau de Vizille between horses. Uncle Gio is there on the outside. Devamani still held up 8 lengths off the lead, and I'm the Captain Now. So they make their way around the far turn. Bird's Eye View on top by a neck. Holiday Bonus on the outside, tracking second. Red Knight is third down toward the inside. Then Gauguin, followed by Eastport, who's 3 wide on the turn. Uncle Gio is going up on the far outside. Then Chateau de Vizille. Glad Moon is bottled up at the hedge. Devamani's going to go up with a 5 wide bid. And I'm the Captain Now trails in the end of the stretch. And it's Bird's Eye View and Holiday Bonus. And the two of them arrive into the final furlong 1-2. And then it's Red Knight third. Glad Moon's got a clear path and is gaining ground on the inside. Gauguin is next. Bird's Eye View still going strong here. Red Knight up into second. And then comes Glad Moon on the inside and others closing late. And here comes Red Knight on the outside of Bird's Eye View. And these two bobbed heads under the wire. Either of the two could have won it. Gauguin ended up third in 2:15.26.
It is tight, but it looks like it is Bird's Eye View. Got DQ'd out of a victory at Keeneland last time out. Surprisingly, getting the job done here, at 26-1.
And a great ride by Jose Lezcano. And Paul was commenting during the race, this horse came from dead last, albeit going a bit shorter, but projected to be somewhere 4th or 5th early. Jose sensed a slow pace here and sent this horse to the lead, and he won it by going a slow fraction here. Tough loss for the runner-up Red Knight, who blew the break off the layoff.
Yeah, he did. He blew the break. I tell you what, the 3 got the best of the bobs, but the 6 was still physically in front here. If we can come back to the beginning, we'll show you what happens to the 3. He was the best in here at the 7-2, and he jumped at the start. But then he sat a really good trip, and you could see he was always a little bit loaded. And it looked like Bird's Eye View had gotten away from him, and then boom, the 3 took off and made it very close at the end.
It's a crazy price on this horse. I mean, I know he had to get the distance, but visually he was extremely impressive last time out. Unfortunately, I used him a little in my pick, the 2 Devamani, who even though the pace was slow, he really didn't run at all. And the other Belmont horse, the 8, the favorite, he was wide in the first turn.
Of course, it was graded stakes place in the past, and he winds up going off at 26-1.
Take it for that all button, though. Ooh.
Well, I hope you're alive in the Naira Bets late pick 5 with this horse, as we could be looking at a big payout. Here's the start. The 3-horse Red Knight will jump in the air as they hit the start. It's bad luck.
Yes. Oh, great call, Andy. Yeah, it is. It's bad luck because, you know, getting bumped out of the gate could take a little steam out of you, but the horse, I mean, that cost the horse 4 or 5 lengths in position and everything.
It's just such bad timing because there's nothing the starter can do. And you could see watching it, he was acting fine in the gate, and sometimes it's just terrible timing. But I really think that Jose Lezcano deserves a lot of credit, and winning for Mike Dini as well, and let's credit him for shipping in and taking a shot. We're offering huge purses, $90,000 for these route races on the turf. Took a shot with a big price, but Jose Lezcano, he won this race by putting a horse in the front that didn't figure to be the speed.
Clips Award-winning rider on board a 26-1 shot to start off the Naira Bets late pick 5. Coming up next, we have a new Triple Crown trophy. We're going to talk with the man who designed it when we come back. That's next on Belmont Park Live.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Farm.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back there in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
Back on Belmont Park Live, and a big long shot. Kicking off this Naira Bets late pick 5. My mistake, Jose Lezcano on board Bird's Eye View. Not Jose Ortiz. $54.50 for the win to begin this sequence here. Teams up with Mike Dini and Bally Britt Stable, 4-year-old son of Mizzen Mast. With a big surprise in there. 50-cent pick 4 that ended in that race comes up big. And look at that early pick 5. Wow. $52,866.
Wow.
Very special guest joining us on set right now. That is Roberto Santos, celebrated sculptor, whose work has been celebrated internationally and recognized all over the world. After the Triple Crown was accomplished back in 2015, Chris Kay, the president and CEO of the New York Racing Association, said, we need a new Triple Crown trophy. Contacted you. What was first going through your mind when you heard from him in terms of just any kind of thoughts on what you might think about horse racing, the sport, what you knew about it, and what you might come up with?
Well, I mean, you know, from an amateur point of view, I was really excited. I mean, the idea of actually becoming a part of this historical event is pretty incredible. So for me, at the very beginning, you know, I told Chris, I said, well, you know, I want to be able to rise up to do something really unbelievable, you know, for this occasion. And so we took off at that point. It felt like a horse race right from the beginning.
Where did your research take you in terms of I know you did a lot of looking back at previous races and the history of the sport. How deep did you dive into horse racing?
I dove quite a bit. I mean, you know, my dad a long time ago did the ads for Belmont Racing in 1960, and so I had that historical entity in me already of dealing with my dad, and this was like, you know, the idea was to go and really look at the great horses, you know, that had really had actually achieved that incredible moment, you know, the Triple Crown. And what I realized is that each horse had kind of a different entity that it brought to the race. And so what I wanted to do is you know, back in the old days, it was a different kind of race than it is now. It's the year 2018, so it's, you know, it's a different thing.
Yeah, you've talked about that in your work before, that your art celebrates the past while allowing it to transcend into the present. How did this piece do that?
Well, the idea with this piece was actually to touch the old trophy, and then bring it into the future, bring it into the 2018, which is not an easy accomplishment. There's a lot of pressure on you for this, but in trying to think about it, it was a great. It's a great moment for me, to try to understand what is the thoroughbred all about. What is this? This is the greatest achievement in sports, let alone the thoroughbred, and to do something that actually took it and elevated it into something spectacular that meant something. Maybe in 1953 when they did the first trophy, I think that was a great trophy for that time, but. We're in 2018. We need something really, really unbelievable. And so the idea of actually taking the dividing everything into three pieces, the three-sided, and taking a little bit from the past, which was the original trophy, and then making it into an iconic structure.
Got a chance to see this Tuesday night at the post-position draw for the Belmont at Citi Field. It truly is magnificent. Is there anything that kind of, I guess, for the person who created it, that you want people to see that maybe at first glance they may not notice?
This is a trophy that, in my mind, was divided into three parts in every entity. Every single entity of the trophy is divided into three parts. There are three principal structures that are holding what I call the vase at the top, and every single entity is divided into three pieces. So at the beginning, you look at it and you realize that it's a celebration of the thoroughbreds. And then I thought, well, you got to put a horse on it, and the horse has to be something special. Mm-hmm. So I looked back in history and took pieces from each one of the winners physically, and tried to combine them into a horse that I thought would be a winner.
Oh, wow. I assume you're going to be here on Saturday.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We'll see if Justify can get it done. He seems like he's pretty special as well, and we would love to see this trophy put to use. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Beautiful piece of work.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Roberto Santos designed the new Triple Crown trophy. Hopefully, we will get to see it handed out on Saturday. We're going to take a break in the action. We have a trio of stakes races still to come right after this when Belmont Park Live continues. Stay with us.
Make Naira Bets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With Naira Bets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NairaBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. Naira Bets, racing's best play.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus. Good to be with you on this Thursday afternoon, kicking off Belmont Stakes Festival Week. Will there be another name added to that list of 12 Triple Crown winners? We're going to find out on Saturday. Coming up next, stakes action gets underway, and it is the Astoria 2-year-old fillies who will step up and improve a bunch of lightly raced, talented runners. Wesley Ward with a couple in here, and Simon Callahan bringing one out as well, who was the morning line favorite.
Well, it's a tricky race. It really is. Wonderstone, the one in here, was absolutely giant first time out, and so was the 7. I am surprised at the 3. I know the 3 was good first time out as even money, though.
The 7, Signori, will be favored by most time.
Yeah.
The 3 was visually impressive.
Yeah.
15 minutes until post. Let's send it down to the paddock. Check in with Maggie Wolfendale. This report presented by Hillendale Farms, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
And Greg, this certainly is a fun field for this Astoria. We'll begin with Signori, who brings her flashy speed by way of California here to Belmont Park for trainer Simon Callahan, and she looks utterly fast. I mean, she just is so well developed behind the saddle. She has, for lack of a better term, that apple bottom. She is just really well muscled, and what I love is that coming in from California, she's one of 2 horses that have had to ship the furthest at such a young age, and let's face it, she also sold at the OBS March sale. So she's gone crisscross across this country, and her weight looks tremendous. I really like this filly. But the thing is that she's fast, and several of the other horses are fast in here. They've been precocious, quick types, i.e. the Wesley Ward duo. So it kind of lends itself well to a horse that has shown that she can rate and win, and that might be why number 3, Eye in the Sky, is favored right now. But she also might be a very talented filly. She's extremely well balanced. She has good energy here in the paddock as well for trainer Mark Cassie. She is sharper. Now, maybe she will be quicker in her second start, but it looked as though the rest of those horses were just standing still as she came with monstrous strides without even being asked by her jockey Florent Giroux. And she's just really well conditioned in here, and she just looks like an athlete. As we will check in with the inside runner for Wesley Ward, that is number 1, Wonderstone. She was fast away from there and just never looked back. Just an utter professional, and she definitely has the same kind of physical makeup as Signori. They're compact, they're fast, and she's well muscled in here. So we'll see. Is it a battle up front that falls into the hands of Eye in the Sky? Well, it kind of looks that way here in the paddock, guys.
Maggie, thank you. There's a look at Wonderstone. You see that pick 4 pool, by the way, 229,000 and growing. Still plenty of time to get involved. Paul, what'd you come up with?
Well, we just need to close this out. Same numbers we have in the pick 5. We were lucky enough to get a $50 horse to all that last race, so let's get this home. 1, 7, and 8 in here. I'd include the 3, obviously. Impressive. 7 and 10. I'm sticking with significant form. You got to stick with somebody in this sequence, and I hope she can get it done for me.
You know, the tricky thing about these races is the vast majority of first-time stars that win wire their fields. That doesn't mean they're necessarily speed horses. And the question of who will be the fastest, or in this case, can some of the ones that won on the front end rate and win? Those are questions that need to be answered. And as visually impressive as Eye in the Sky was, it was only 13 days ago, and they were first-time starters. So we have no way of knowing if she beat any quality field at all.
We will find out a little bit more in a few moments here as she makes career start number 2, but it certainly was visually impressive first time out. Today's Belmont Stakes Racing Festival kicks off a huge pick 4 point bonus from Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com to get involved. We'll be back.
And they're off in New York. The premier state bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses, restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish first, second, or third at New York tracks. We have the quality. Audible, no doubt about it. You have the opportunity. New York breds, get with the program. The best program.
Greg, hi.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going.
Back on Belmont Park Live as our Belmont Stakes Festival gets underway here on this Thursday afternoon. Of course, on Saturday, we will see if history will be made by Justify. Arrived here in Elmont, New York yesterday, had his first spin over the track today, and we'll show that to you a little bit later on. Pick 4 coming up in this next race, the Astoria for 2-year-old fillies, 258,000 plus, and that pool growing. We kick off our post parade with Wonderstone, trained by Wesley Ward. John Velasquez aboard.
One of the 10 winners of 2-year-old races at Keeneland by Wesley Ward. Draws inside, meets tougher, but is talented.
Eye in the Sky, the 3 had their remarkable debut circling the field for Marcassi.
Eye in the Sky was super visually impressive and showed that she can rate. It's a feather in her cap, but that was just 13 days ago, and this is tougher.
Lady Apple, only runner in this field who remains a maiden. She had a trouble trip in her debut.
And she's going to get LASIK. She transfers barns, and she gets a jockey upgrade here, and that's why she's getting played here at 5-1.
5-horse, 6-pack gal for Mike Mikowski.
I think if you're alive in the pick 5, you might be drinking a 6-pack if this horse wins.
And the Sevilla, tough one to come up with. Tajori for Simon Callahan. Brilliant debut at Santa Anita, now ships east.
Over $500,000 as a 2-year-old. Looks like the goods, and the horse to beat and will be favored.
And Wesley Ward has another one on the outside. Athens Queen, Alex Jimenez, will be aboard after a win in the debut at Keeneland.
Yeah, this filly by Majestic Ware completely getting ignored. Wired to field at Keeneland and just won by a neck as the favorite.
All right, we have talked a lot about this debut from Eye in the Sky, daughter of Sky Mesa. First time out, she was bet down to 4-5. And here it was. This was back at Churchill Downs.
Pink Silks.
And she is going to swoop on by this field with a wide trip.
She breaks a length and a half, 2 lengths slowly. Horses are going by her. She settles in back. And you're going to watch her, and it's not as the rider isn't asking her to run. He is, but he's not exactly urging her along. And, it just seems to me like there's 2 races going on. Eye in the Sky and everybody else.
Yeah, it's true. And the impressive part about it is when she got sort of shuffled back, you never saw her throw her head around, get upset. She was completely professional. And then you can just see after that, it was just over with. And Florent said, you know what, I'll take her wide to keep her out of trouble.
If you watch a lot of races, you can really tell 2-year-olds. They're just sort of smaller and they're sort of harder to handle. But it's a very impressive win. 13 days ago, though, and once again, we just have no idea who she was beating, but we do know that she's meeting tougher today. She's obviously talented. How talented? And another thing, you don't want to get left 2 lengths against this field.
No, you don't. As the competition gets better and better, the margin for error gets smaller and smaller. And there is a look at Tajori for Simon Callahan. As Andy mentioned, paid a pretty penny for this one, over $500,000 for the daughter of Will Take Charge.
I mean, I don't know. You don't ship a horse all the way from California for this race, Paul, unless you think she was the goods, and she was terrific first time out.
She was good. I got a chance to talk to Simon, actually, and he thinks his horse got a big shot along with his big mare, his big filly American Gal that we're going to see as well. Simon knows exactly what he's doing, and he ships horses over here to the East Coast. They run well, and now with Kaleem Shaw in his corner.
Said she's been doing everything just perfect since that victory. And there's a look, meanwhile, Lady Apple moving now to the Steve Asmussen barn after having that troubled debut in which he ran second.
And an interesting private purchase for the connections of Gronkowski, actually. And the chart says the horse had trouble in its debut, actually had a perfect trip in that race, but lost to a Wesley Ward juggernaut. And I think that Lady Apple is a very dangerous horse in this race at a fair price.
You get Steve Asmussen, you get a filly by Curlin, lost to Dragic. I think Dragic is an okay horse, too, for Wesley Ward. And he's right. You're getting Lasix, you're getting Irad Ortiz, you're getting upgrades everywhere. There's nothing against Mark Ubley. He's a good trainer, but you're getting upgrades everywhere here.
Yeah, and finishing second to Wesley Ward in the 2-year-old race at Keeneland, well, after opening day, that's the best anyone could do. And most of the time, Wesley was finishing second to himself.
Yeah,
that's right. He owns those 2-year-old races in Lexington. That pick 4 pool closing in on $300,000. Still time to get down here in the sequence. And speaking of Wesley Ward, of course, he has the rail horse. He has the outside runner as well. Athens Queen, who won first time out at 4.5 furlongs.
You know, listen, sometimes a lot of people will say winning from the one hole is a disadvantage, or it's at least going first time out. But going 4.5 furlongs, Andy and I agree on this. It's an advantage if you break, especially if you're a Wesley Ward horse, because they very rarely get left. This horse broke like a rocket, and she just barely held on.
It's bad to get left from any post position. I find out when I bet. I'd prefer to get out of the gate each time. It's interesting, and I don't know what to make of it. Jimenez, the rider, rides for Wesley Ward, and he obviously has a lot of confidence in him. Now, he rode both firsters that won, the 1 Wonderstone, the 8 Athens Queen. John Velasquez, the Hall of Famer, a great rider, takes over the 1. But is it possible Jimenez, Albin Jimenez, who rides for Wesley Ward, did he possibly have the choice?
We'll see in a little bit.
Up and over $300,000 now in this pick 4 pool. We're approaching the 2-minute mark to post. With more, let's go downstairs to Gabby and Maggie.
Greg, thank you. And we're actually going to check in with number 4 in here, Lady Apple. Gabby, she's going first time out for Steve Asmussen. She gets Lasix for this start, and she was finishing second to, of course, a Wesley Ward runoff. But what did you like about her? I know she's your pick.
I liked her race last time out, and I think that there's room for improvement, especially now that Steve is training her. But she was squeezed out of position on the backstretch, and to me, with that, considering the distance of the race, she never gave up. And that's what you want to see, that tenacity and a lightly raced 2-year-old. Physically, I think probably you agree, she probably has a little bit more filling out to do, especially when you compare her to the likes of the 7 Tajori here. But I just think that she's very interesting.
Yeah, I did. In relative terms, she did look a bit backwards compared to the rest here. But number 8 is Athens Queen for Wesley Ward. Now, she didn't win quite as convincingly as Wonderstone did first time out. And I'll be honest with you, Gabby, I just thought she was a touch below, at least when comparing her to her stablemate.
I agree. And she, too, looks like she's got some growing to do a little bit. She's very well-defined. She's muscled out, but she is a little on the tiny side for sure. But sometimes we see those Wesley Ward horses, they just show so much speed. They're hard to catch, but I can agree with your at least physical analysis. But she did show a lot of heart in her debut. I just overall wonder the strength of that race.
Exactly, and we will take a look at quickly Eye in the Sky, who both you and I noticed once she got out here, and considering she's coming off short rest, she really kind of puffed herself up.
She really did. And again, comparing her to the 7 is kind of like apples and oranges. The 7 Tajori is huge. But you can see her. She's on her toes. She's got really excellent energy, as you said, coming off short rest. And I liked her behavior, how she acted when Florent hopped in the saddle. It was like go time.
Yeah, she certainly got the mind of a racehorse here, guys.
Well, she is 5-2 on the board. Eye in the Sky as she gets set for start number 2 as you take a look at our analyst selections.
I really struggled with what to do with Eye in the Sky because there's a big party that wants to say they're all speed types. We know that she can close. She overcame some trouble. She got left. She won easily, so maybe she can go a little bit faster. I'm concerned about shipping from Kentucky and running her second race 13 days later.
I am too, and I'm also worried that there's a horse in the 7 that is ultra quick for Simon Callahan, and you know the one is going to bust out of there running.
Don't forget, this happens on Saturday. Great time to get signed up and started with Naira Bets. If you're the only winning ticket in the Naira Bets Late Pick 5, a guaranteed $1 million minimum payout, but you have to play it through Naira Bets to receive that promotion. Get signed up, started, go to nairabets.com. Right now, 107th running of the Astoria. As these 2-year-old fillies move into the gate, Wesley Ward with 2 of them. They both have quickness. A few others do as well. This pace early on going to be interesting to keep our eyes on. But now even money on the Southern California shipper for Simon Callahan and Kaleem Shah, the $500,000 daughter of Will Take Charge. The 7 making career start number 2, the one to beat on the board. Let's send it upstairs for the call of the Astoria to the voice of New York Racing, Larry Colmus.
6-Pack Gal is now coming up to the starting gate here and is just a bit hesitant to take her spot in line as Tajori and Athens Queen wait behind the gate here. 6-Pack Gal almost in. Looks like they've got her in the gate now. And Tajori will be the next one to come forward. She is still holding it even money here and about to move into her spot in line. The red, white, and blue colors of Kaleem Shah. Tajori, like 6-Pack Gal, just a touch reluctant, but comes forward and in, and that'll leave Athens Queen to take up position in the outside stall. Athens Queen goes in. They're all in line. They're off in the Astoria. And it is Wonderstone sent out of there from the inside to show early speed. Tajori came out running in second. 6-Pack Gal is out in third. Then Lady Apple to the inside, followed by Athens Queen and Eye in the Sky. Will have to come from last year and races 5.5 lengths off the lead, which is held by Wonderstone and pressed by Tajori. These two complete the opening quarter mile in 22.06 seconds. Break of another 2, and then Lady Apple third on the inside. They're followed by Athens Queen. Eye in the Sky is out there very wide on the turn, and 6-Pack Gal is the trailer. It is Wonderstone taken on here by Tajori at the top of the stretch. The 2 of them turn for home, and on their outside, Athens Queen gets into the mix too. Lady Apple cuts the corner. Eye in the Sky is 5 deep and trying to charge down the center. Meanwhile, Athens Queen has taken the lead. Eye in the Sky closes on the outside. Tajori is there. Lady Apple fights on from the rail. It's Athens Queen. Here's Lady Apple on the inside. Eye in the Sky and Tajori down to the line. Athens Queen in the Astoria beats Lady Apple on the wire. Eye in the Sky was third and Tajori was fourth in 105.37.
It is the other Wesley Ward who crosses the wire first. The Astoria, Athens Queen with Alex Jimenez.
Well, we mentioned that Alvin Jimenez stayed on this horse, ended up getting the right trip on the outside. A lot going on in here. Lady Apple got that good trip up the inside and just couldn't get up. No excuse for her, to me at least.
There really was no excuse. We'll take you back to the start. The 1 breaks very, very cleanly here, and the 3 breaks okay, but just is not fast enough to keep up with these horses and just sort of get settled back. And then Florent Giroux was very high on the irons. I couldn't tell what was going on, but he was very cognizant of getting the horse outside.
No question about it. And actually, the eventual winner, Athens Queen, she broke a bit slowly in this race and got in the race. I mean, to be honest with you, they weren't flying up front. And I just say the best horse won this race.
11-1 on Athens Queen, the more lightly regarded of the 2 Wesley Ward runners. And in this case, the rail horse sort of set it up for the 8, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. You know, you look at the pace, 22:45. They're going 5.5 furlongs. I'm going to make no excuse whatsoever for the favorite Tajori.
Yeah, you can't make any excuses for Tajori. I mean, got put away. And Eye in the Sky, who broke slow, tried hard. Lady Apple got a good trip, but you're right. Athens Queen grinded it out wide most of the way. They didn't stop the clock very timely in 105, but she got the job done.
And felt like Eye in the Sky kind of got into it and she was going to pick him up the 8th pole. At first we thought she's not really running. Then it looked like she's going to gobble him up, but she just got out finished.
11-1 on your winner. It's Athens Queen, Albin Jimenez, Wesley Ward. Team up for victory, 8-4, 3-7 in the Astoria. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Triple Crown winning trainer Bob Baffert as he looks to become just the 2nd trainer ever with 2 Triple Crown sweeps. That's coming up next when we return on Belmont Park Live. Stick with us.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb has emerged as one of the nation's most promising young stallions. The leading freshman sale sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds, his first runners are off to a fast start. His debut winners have dazzled on the track, scoring on both dirt and turf. In the sales ring, his yearlings continue to command top prices, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga. Outstanding value, outstanding results, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus. Our stakes action underway on this Thursday afternoon. And in the 107th running of the Astoria for 2-year-old fillies, Wesley Ward reigns supreme. He's downstairs with Maggie right now.
Thanks, guys. And standing by with Wesley Ward. And Wesley, it was the higher price of the 2 in Athens Queen. She ran very well and was very game to run down those leaders.
She really showed a lot of heart today. You know, the leaders went a little quick up front, my filly and the favorite, so it kind of softened them up. But she really came at them, and she ran a valiant race.
Had she improved a lot from her Keeneland win?
She was always a nice filly from day one when we started breezing her over at Turfway in March. She showed a lot of talent. Wasn't at this level that she is today, so it looks like she's, you know, kind of getting better, and that's what you want.
And tomorrow on the Tremont, you'll send out May Never Know, an Irish-bred horse who has showed a lot of ability on the main track first time out here at Belmont.
Yeah, she's something special, I think. Gary loves her since the first time he breezed her. He's came back here and even breezed her 2 weeks or work before last. He liked her that much. So he's excited and I'm excited. The owners are excited, so we'll see what happens.
Gearing up for Ascot, do you take any of these horses?
Not these. But we got the lineup ready to go. They're going to leave Monday night, so we're all set.
Well, it's always fun, and I know you have your lucky slippers on.
Always.
All right, Wesley, congratulations. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
And you know he's got that top hat and coattails ready to go as well for that trip to Ascot.
Do they match the slippers?
They might.
Doesn't matter. I don't think
Tremendous success that he has had at Royal Ascot. Athens Queen, impressive here. She's now 2 for 2.
What can you say about the job Wesley Ward does with these 2-year-olds? It's just amazing.
It really is, and he just keeps on doing this and doing this. And congratulations to the filly by Majestic Warrior.
Look at this. Naira Betts late pick 5 follow along. Pool over 73,000. It always overpays. And we had 2 monster horses already. $54 winner to kick it off. And now a $24 horse in leg 2. And we're just getting started. So if you are alive, we wish you all the best coming up. Of course, Saturday, the big day. Yeah, ticket this guy
He's
gave out,
alive.
still alive in the air.
Yeah.
Don't jinx it.
Uh-oh.
Should we say you're not alive?
He pointed to you already. I had to point it out. Of
Cat's out of
course,
the bag.
Saturday, we're waiting to see if Justify is going to become the 13th Triple Crown winner in history. Arrived just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon from MacArthur Airport here at Belmont. He got his first spin over that Belmont track earlier today.
What can you say? He looked tremendous coming off of the truck. He's galloped well. Bob has been the most talkative Bob I've seen in a while. That means this horse is doing very, very well. That big white face, you just cannot miss it. He looks good to me.
He has not missed a beat since the Preakness. Some thought maybe vulnerable after horses getting to him in that off track in the Preakness, but he prevailed, and now a Triple Crown is on the line on Saturday. Maggie Wolfendale had a chance to catch up with Bob Baffert just the other day.
Here with Bob Baffert upon the arrival of Justify here today. And Bob, first of all, tell us how he shipped from Kentucky.
You know what? He shipped really well. He didn't get hot. You know, he's handled everything pretty well. He acts so professional for a horse that just joined the racing scene in January. But I was happy with it. He got off. He was basically dragging me around the shed row, and he drank a lot of water, which is, you know, really good. And I just, you know, I don't see anything where I feel happy that, you know, he made it here. It was exciting watching him come here. I know a lot of the people are waiting here. You know, they haven't seen him in 2 weeks, and, you know, you're all, you know, want to know what he looks like. But, you know, I think it's starting to get exciting now. You know, finally getting, well, we're here. We're just a few days to go, so we're just enjoying it now.
This is the second time around you've been in this position, at least in recent times, obviously going back to 3 years ago with American Pharoah. And these horses of yours, they, as you've said yourself, become rock stars. How is it being a part of that scene?
Well, I think it's his record. That's why, because he's shown that he's a superior horse, just like American Pharoah, like the really good ones. And now he gets a chance to, you know, put his name up there and in the big lights and be remembered as one of the few that have been able to handle this test. And it's going to be tough. It's difficult. But, you know, I don't see anything, Maggie, that I would feel that he's regressed or anything. I just feel that, you know, pace is going to be important. He has to break well, so you just don't know what's going to happen.
Now, he's won the first 2 jewels of the Triple Crown on wet tracks. If you look at his form, it looks like he's better on a fast track. So how much are you hoping that this rain that they're forecasting holds off?
Well, actually, I think he regressed a little bit on if you look at his numbers. You know, I think what's helped him, he's never ran like this huge figure. You know, he's won, but, you know, he's always, I love him on dry tracks. You know, I hated seeing him run on wet tracks because, you know, a horse like that, that's why, you know, the feet, they can bruise their feet, they can do whatever. But, you know, it's one thing I can't worry about. And then my son, Bodie, texted me, Mr. Future Meteorologist. He tells me, Dad, it's going to rain. Forget it, you know. And he's never been wrong. You know, he's always, last few years, he loves that. But I think it's one of those things where, you know, I just want to fast track, and I want him to, you know, I just hope he shows up. You know, as a trainer, all you want to do is when he turns for home, you know, I hope Mike is just sitting on him. When you see him niggling him and starting to tap him at the top of the stretch, it's not a good sign, Maggie. And I don't want to see that. Just like American Pharoah, when Victor Spinoza was just sitting like a statue on him, I knew right there. I go, wow, you know, we're good, and that's all you can hope for. And I just hope that, you know, that he's ready for that, and he'd be able to handle it.
Well, we'll find out on Saturday how good Bob Baffert's son Bodie is as a weather forecaster, but whatever happens, he has proven Justify he can handle any kind of track. You can hear more from Bob Baffert as he approaches history with Andy Serling on Across the Board. You got a chance to have a pretty long talk with him this morning, right?
Yeah, about 40 minutes or so with Bob. Talked quite a bit about Justify, sort of led us through his whole story from start until now, and talked about his experience with American Pharoah up in Saratoga, what that was like. Talked about Airgate, and it was just a pleasure to talk to him. And if you want to read a trainer's body language, and you've talked about this as well, Bob's feeling pretty good, which might be bode well for Justify.
You can download that podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play Store. An extended talk with Triple Crown winning trainer Bob Baffer. We're going to take a break in the action. Graded Stakes action continues. Stormy Victoria seeking her first Graded Stakes win of her career next.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With NyraBets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. NyraBets, racing's best play.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're into the stretch, and it is Monomoy Girl taken on by Wonder Godot, but here comes... And she's charging down the center of the track. Wonder Godot in front. On the inside, Monomoy Girl fights on. Midnight Bisou is started the far outside. It's Wonder Godot. And on the inside, Monomoy Girl. It's down to these two. And it's going to be Monomoy Girl.
It is Superstar Saturday coming up this weekend, and we have another superstar in the Acorn, Monomoy Girl, or Kentucky Oaks winner, 6 for 7 in her career. She's 4 to 5 in the morning line.
She's a terrific racehorse and looking to win her third straight Grade 1. I think this might be your toughest test, though. Are you interested at all in Talk Vuv to me, Paul?
I think that she's very interesting. Caledonia Road is very interesting because she has races, and I think the Inside Filly. And I wouldn't even put out Spectator at all. Listen, Monomoy Girl is the horse to beat. In 4 to 5, she'll probably be 3 to 5, 2 to 5. But Andy's right. It's a shorter field, but there's 4 or 5 horses in there that can run a number close enough to give her a fight at the end of this race.
She is a superstar. Won that Kentucky Oaks from post 14. And we're looking forward to 6 Grade 1s on Saturday afternoon. It's going to be sensational. We continue along with our stakes action. A graded stakes now. Grade 3 Intercontinental is up next. Fillies and Mares 4 and up, going 7 furlongs over the turf. And La Sardane 20 to 1 morning line. Wow, coming off a win for Neil Drysdale at 5 to 2 right now.
Keep in mind the heavy morning line favorite, the number 6, Lady Alexandra scratch. So every morning line should virtually be cut in half. But still, she has a chance in here. And I know Paul and I both like her chances, but 5 to 2 is ridiculous.
Yeah, 5 to 2 is ridiculous. Listen, when you probably at the end of this, like with the scratches, she'll be around 6, 7 to 1, somewhere in that area. Where's the 4 I'm gonna land Thundering Sky, who's getting bet down? Because the 7 and 10 here by the time they're done, will be your number 1 and 2 choices.
It's interesting that the 7 horse, the number 7 in, Delectation, was the favorite in the pick 3, but the 10 Stormy Victoria is a real favorite in the doubles, and she's like 3rd or 4th choice in the pick 3s. Sod.
Stormy Victoria, the 10. She was second, a distant second, to Lady Alexandra last time out. Of course, as Andy mentioned, no Lady Alexandra in this race. It has changed the complexion of it quite a bit. Time for a paddock report now. It is presented by Run Happy. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, guys. And I will check in with the outside horse in here. That is the 6-year-old mare, and Stormy Victoria, who is getting an extra furlong to cover here in today's Intercontinental, going the 7, and she is undefeated at this distance on the grass, and it just fits her. And 2, I think she looks better than what she did going back to a month plus ago here at Belmont. I think she's actually put on a little more weight. She just looks a bit more rounded out overall, and that's what you want to see with these kind of middle distance type of turf runners, or I should say sprint to mile type of turf runners. So I think this is an ideal setup for her. She should be the favorite, at least from what I see here in the paddock. But people are gravitating to number 2 in here, who I'm going to save for a little bit later. But taking a look at number 7, Delectation, for Wesley Ward. She's interesting because looking at her, she looks like that true kind of miler. Though she ran pretty well going 5.8 for Wesley Ward at Churchill, which you have to certainly have your running shoes on the entire 5 furlongs of those contests. So I like her here in that she's showing good energy. She's not your typical Wesley Ward horse because she's a British bred filly, so she's kind of more tall and narrow overall. She's okay. She wouldn't be my pick of the paddock, but I get where people may like her. As we'll check in with number 8, Fabian. As I was talking to Bob Baffert yesterday, saying that this is, well, she does have a crush on Justify. She whinnied to him when he walked in the barn. But she's going to try the turf here. She is out of a Freud mare, and looking at her, you know, this is a tough spot for her to try it, but she does look as though she'll take to it. And I like the cut back to the 7/8 here. She is a smaller, handier type of individual. So she's intriguing, and hopefully you would get a bit of a price, as we will check in with number 2, La Sardane. I was not expecting to look up and see her favored, but she really took my eye. She is the best looking filly here in this paddock, just for the fact it looks as though she's doing very well. And she's been training here at Belmont on the turf course leading up to this effort here for Neil Drysdale, which I find is interesting, and I like the fact that she's accustomed to Belmont Park for this Intercontinental, Greg.
Well, there was La Sardane. We got to look at a Group 2 winner in Chantilly in France. She ran second, just a length behind the very talented Senga as well. And a lot of people seeing that in the running lines. In fact, she's coming in off a win for a very sharp barn on the West Coast for Neil Drysdale. 5-2 is very short. And there is Neil just leaving your screen.
And she had a tough trip in her first race in this country, coming off a 10-month layoff at Keeneland. But she beat Ursula Solo Ranger. It would be 100-1 in this race. She did beat her easily, Paul. Neil Drysdale comes here meaning business, but this is too short a price.
Yeah, it's too short of a price. But you're right. When Neil sends one over, they mean business. And this is a filly. She's lightly raced. She's only got 9 races, and she got better in Chantilly before she came over here. The Keeneland race, she could just draw a line through it. She sort of just broke flat-footed, tried to make a middle move and got dead stopped, and then just sort of quit a little bit. Now, when you get to the 4-horse, you know, Thundering Sky, I know you like this horse a little bit, Andy. 1 for 10 in the last 2 years. She can be tactical. She can do a little bit of both.
Well, let's talk about who she's been facing. I mean, she ran against horses that are going to be short prices in our Grade 1 Longines Just a Game, and she did not handle. That was not a good turf course. It was a yielding turf course. 2 times ago, I don't think Regime was his fault, but she did not get the cleanest of trips in there, never got her momentum going, and she's running against better horses. Fall 2 beat her 3 back, beat her by a length. If she hadn't gotten hurt before the Ogden Phipps, she's one of the best turf or dirt horses in the country in the division. I think she's getting class relief. I think she's run plenty of races good enough to win. And to me, she's very much one of the big players in here.
5-1 on the board for Thundering Sky. That's De La Rose forever Going to remember that race.
Well, when you look at Thundering Sky, you see 4-star Crook, who we're going to see. You see On Leave, Off Limits. These are all, like Andy said, these are all horses we're going to see in the next couple days.
In a grade 1.
Yeah.
And this is a grade 3. And not to say it's not a tough field, and she doesn't have to win. And she is a horse that doesn't find the winner's circle as often, perhaps she should, with the 10 seconds and thirds and 3 wins. But 5-1 on her, to me, is a very good price.
Look at the 8 moving by right there. Fabian, first time on turf for the Bob Baffert filly by Go Sapper.
She's the speed, Fabian.
Yeah, you know, it's a tough read because the bottom side of the pedigree is turf, the top side isn't. Bob's the best dirt trainer I've ever seen, but usually the last resort for him is turf. But he was able to get this filly to work over the Belmont turf, and she obviously liked it for him to put her on.
You could play along with this race, all the races that we show you here on Belmont Park Live by getting signed up and started and playing along. But also, you can risk nothing at all by getting involved with the Showdown contest and earn points that equal money in your account. Play the races, the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival for free with that Showdown. Compete with fellow fans for prizes like NyraBet's points and an entry into that Saratoga Challenge this summer, available during all days of the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. Go to NYRA.com/showdown to get involved. And another look there at La Sardane, the 2 for Neil Drysdale. And again, this is tackling incredibly tougher competition than what she faced last time out. But keep in mind, she is a Group 2 winner.
Oh, her European race. I mean, if she had just run that, like even as her last race, she might be the story in the race. But don't discount another European, Delectation. She faced the boys in a very tough sprint going 5 furlongs, and she got left a couple lengths in that race at Churchill. I'm surprised that she's not favored as Wesley Ward looks to win back-to-back, Paul.
You know, I think when people look at Wesley Ward, they go, okay, the horse is going long, and they automatically think, okay, he's not really a guy that can handle the horse going long, and that's completely wrong. I mean, this horse lost to Roly Poly. He's only 4.5 lengths. Roly Poly would be 1-5 in this field, somewhere in that area.
I'd like her in here.
Yeah, I know. I mean, so she's faced some really nice fillies, and she probably needed that last race. Wesley set her up probably for here.
Well, I don't even know. You know, she may have needed it, but she ran actually okay in there. Great. I mean, she gets left a couple of lengths. She has to zigzag a bit in traffic and come to the inside, and those are. I mean, Buchero, the horse who was third in there. Will Call was supposed to run the Jaipur. He didn't run. These are good horses, the kind of horses you'll see in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint at the end of the year at Churchill Downs. She's okay.
7-2 on the board right now for Delectation. Wesley Ward trying to go back-to-back here in stakes on this Thursday afternoon. Time for our post parade. It's brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more information, visit OCDPellets.com. We start with Malibu Stacy for George Weaver.
1-2 for George Weaver, and she actually ran okay last time, but she's moving up in class.
Team Valor sends out at La Sardane, trained by Neil Drysdale, Flavian Pratt aboard.
Taking all the money is this filly, 3 for 9 lifetime, currently 5-2 from a 20-1 morning line.
Godolphin Racing sends out Always Thinking, trained by Tom Albertrani.
She's actually okay, but I think she wants a little less distance, not the 7 furlongs today.
6-1 on the board. Thundering Sky, another George Weaver trainee, and Rajiv Mirage aboard.
Probably the most tactical mare in here. She can come from way out of it, or she can come from the front, and you're getting a decent price.
Long Shot Heavenly Score, trained by John Terranova with David Cohen.
I don't think she is completely impossible. She ran very well in the dirt this winter, and she's a better turf horse.
Ran decent against Lady Alexandra, who would have been the favorite in this race a while back. Delectation, we talked about. Wesley Ward, John Velasquez.
As we talked about before, she's a talented horse. She shouldn't have a problem with the distance, and she's the horse to beat.
Speed for the Bob Baffert filly, who's trying the turf for the first time, Fabian.
Yeah, don't forget this filly now is a grade 2 winner on the dirt. Can she transfer it to the turf?
And Stormy Victoria, trained by Christophe Clement.
Yeah, she ran into Lady Alexandra last time. Might have been a little bit unlucky, but maybe she wants to go around 2 turns, or this might be her scope, about a mile.
George Weaver, trainer, has a couple of mares in this field, and he is with Gabby Gaudet right now.
Thank you, Greg. Of course, Malibu Stacy and Thundering Sky. And George, just talk a little bit about these 2 mares and how you expect them to run today, how they're coming into the race.
Well, both of them are coming to the race well. You know, Malibu Stacy kind of was on the pace last time. We expect her from the one hole to be on the pace again. I mean, we're not going to make a duel out of it, but we should be forwardly placed. In Thundering Sky, she always kind of likes to stalk and pounce. So, you know, she should somewhere be in mid-tier and hopefully set her up for a good run down the lane.
You have Daddy is a Legend coming up next, too. Very impressive horse. But the blinkers come off today. What was the purpose behind that?
Well, she kind of needed them earlier in her career. You know, she was just very green, and especially first time out, we put them on her, and she ran a bunch of big races. Last time at Churchill, I thought she was a little keen with them, and I just have the notion that she's grown up enough that she doesn't need them anymore, and it might help us, you know, get the mile and the eighth and see if we can go on to the mile and a quarter race next.
There's a scratch of the main speed in there, considering how she was a little bit in the bridle last time out. Where do you expect her to sit?
It's going to depend on the break. You know, sometimes she doesn't break the best, but we're not going to rush up or anything. I'm going to let her get into her groove and run her race. And if there's a slow pace, hopefully we don't have too much to make up, but we'll just kind of let the race unfold and see what happens.
Thanks so much, George. Best of luck.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Now we'll see what happens. Irad Ortiz Jr. on Malibu Stacy from that inside slot does possess some speed. Let's go outside, though, and talk Stormy Victoria, Christophe Clement, Joelle Rosario, and again, chased Lady Alexander. She was actually the 4-5 favorite in that race last start.
Yeah, Lady Alexander that won last time was a different Lady Alexander than we've seen in the past.
By far.
If she ran today and she ran to that race, they could not beat her. She was like a wildebeest. Stormy Victoria was involved in a big photo. One thing I want to point out, Paul, if people see her win at 7.5 furlongs at Gulfstream 3 back, they may compare that to this race at 7 furlongs. It's a much different race. Not to say she can't win today. That's a two-turn race that's more like a mile and a 16th, whereas this is that one-turn elongated sprint. Not to say she can't win, and she's won at 6 furlongs.
Yeah.
But very different race than the one she won 3 back.
No, you're right. I tried to compare maybe to the Nassau, which is a one-turn mile at Woodbine.
Yeah.
Because it's similar conditions, the same kind of long stretch. I know they're only going 7 panels here, or 7 furlongs, but it should be right up her wheelhouse, and she's got the right jockey in Joelle Rosario. He's perfect at timing these type of races.
What concerns me with her is that her recent 2 efforts are a little below her better races. Not that they can't win here, and I'm not saying she can't, because she can, but you may have some up-and-comers here, especially horses like the 7 and the 2 that might be moving forward, and she might be moving backwards.
And she would love to get a little pace help up front and not see someone alone on the lead like Fabian. Fabian, again, trying the turf for the first time.
She really isn't particularly bred for the grass. There are a couple of winners in the second family. Ghost Zapper obviously can be a turf sire. It feels like Bob Baffert's searching for an identity for her. She's not good enough to run against the better horses, and he's taking a shot and taking advantage of a circumstance while he's here with Justify.
Second to American Gal. The horse has some class. It's just whether, you know, she's going to take it over to the turf course.
Getting close to a load. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, I just briefly want to touch on what I saw from warm-ups. Wasn't in love with the way Stormy Victoria warmed up. She was just kind of, I don't know, she didn't kind of burst forward. She didn't have that energy kind of forward from her hindquarters, which I like to see with my turf fillies. On the other hand, number 4 in here, Thundering Sky, she warmed up beautifully for trainer George Weaver. So really, I think between her and the 2 were the ones that caught my eye the most throughout the time in the paddock and out on the track. Guys?
All right, Maggie, thank you. So one of the 2 for George Weaver. Thundering Sky, the winner of the De La Rose at Saratoga last summer. Catching the eye of Maggie Wolfendale.
I think now we'll know, Andy, like we were talking about Thundering Sky, what's going to happen? Malibu Stacy's going to go to the front end here. Thundering Sky is going to play the role of coming from behind, while Malibu Stacy will play the role of going in front for George Weaver.
She's had, as George Weaver said in that interview, though, with Gabby, he's had some issues getting out of the gate. So keep your eyes on the 1. Can she break clean here in the Grade 3 Intercontinental? 9-5 favoritism to Stormy Victoria on the outside. Maggie did not love the way she looked. And we'll see if she can get the 4th win of her career here over this Belmont turf course. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call of the Intercontinental. Here's Larry Colmus.
And here is Stormy Victoria and Joelle Rosario, who are coming up to the outside stall here at 2-1 odds. Going in, they're all in line. Ready for the start. They're off in the Intercontinental. And a very good beginning for Fabian, who speeds out to the front from Heavenly Score, with Malibu Stacy away running in third. La Sardane is fourth. And they're followed by Delectation on the outside in fifth, followed by Always Thinking, who's down toward the hedge, 6.5 lengths off the lead. Stormy Victoria's got 8 lengths to make up in the early stages here, and Thundering Sky trails the field. So they're running up the backstretch, 22.87 for that isolated leader, Fabian, who's out there by 2 over Heavenly Score. Malibu Stacy is on the hedge in third, racing for the turn. La Sardane is fourth by 2.5. Then Always Thinking side by side with Delectation. Stormy Victoria still about 8 lengths behind, and Thundering Sky trails. Around the far turn they go, Fabian on top. Heavenly Score creeping a bit closer, 1.5 lengths behind. While Malibu Stacy goes well and saves every inch of ground. La Sardane is next. Then Delectation on the outside of Always Thinking. Stormy Victoria is going to come up outside of them, and Thundering Skies on her outside. And they're into the stretch. Fabian arrives at the 8th pole with La Sardane running up alongside and running on by. Malibu Stacy's down toward the inside. Stormy Victoria still bottled up near the back of the field. Final 16th, La Sardane in front. On the inside, Fabian fights on. Heavenly Score third. It is La Sardane to win the Intercontinental. It was close for second. Heavenly Score and Fabian were on the wire together. Then came Always Thinking and 120.04.
La Sardane, third time in the state. She's won 2 of her 3 starts. Neil Drysdale knew what he had when he brought her here.
And the money was right on this horse. She ran very well to win. What can you say? But I'll tell you something, Fabian ran well also. She was very game.
No, I told you, he's tough to pass, Bob Baffert, but wow, good call by you guys. 30-1 to 4-1.
La Sardane, Neil Drysdale, Team Valor takes the Grade 3 Intercontinental. We'll be back.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Make Naira Bets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With Naira Bets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NairaBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. Naira Bets, racing's best play.
Back on Belmont Park Live, and the Silks of Team Valor into the winner's circle here at the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. Group 2 winner overseas, now a Grade 3 winner in the U.S.
And I think that's Hall of Fame jockey Chris McCarron in the winner's circle.
Yeah, that was Chris. Congratulations to this daughter by King Salsa, son of King Mambo, out of the Forester, Merritt Forester.
And a lot of good performances by Baffert and Connections, because his horses are stabled in John Terranova's barn, and John Terranova trains the long shot Heavenly Score that finished third, who ran very well in here. So all things are boding well for a big day, big weekend for Bob.
Yeah. By the way, $1,600 on that pick 3 of the first 3 races of the pick 5, Wolfie.
How about this Naira Bets late pick 5? How would you like to be alive in this sequence? $54 horse to start. Wesley Ward at 11-1, and now La Sardane, who was 20-1 morning line. Of course, the big scratch of Lady Alexandra, but still $10.80.
Yeah, like I said, $1,600, and I think the horse will play a little bit more than that just because what it says in the morning line. I know there were scratches, and it ended up being 10-1 in the long run. But still, those are 3 tough horses to get to.
Let's go downstairs to Gabby for more.
Thanks, Greg, here with Flavien Prat, the rider of the winner here. And Flavien, you've had experience on this filly in the last 2 starts. What difference did you see in her today?
Well, it was cutting back on distance, and it helped her to relax. Because she was a little fresh the other day and a little rank, but today she relaxed a lot better.
And she looked like she made a big improvement in terms of her States debut and even her second debut, and then today.
Yeah, well, like I said, the first time she was really fresh. I mean, everything went wrong. She broke bad. I was off the pace. They went slow, so we had no shot. And, yeah, she just started improving.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Flavien Prat on board a real nice one. Grade 3 win for La Sardane. We're going to take a break in the action. We will be back with more and more graded stakes action ahead. Grade 3 Wonder again coming up. You can get down and play it by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. And, of course, that Naira Bets late pick $5 million single ticket payout on Saturday. We'll be back.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole. But Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. Phoenix has won the Travers over American Flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
You're watching Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus. Greg Wolf, Paul LaDuca, Andy Serling, Gabby Gaudet, and Maggie Wolfendale. Grade 3 Intercontinental in the books. La Sardane, your winner. We have another Grade 3 coming up. It is the Wonder Again, which is next. And Chad Brown, he will have 3 fillies in this spot, including significant form. The 5 filly, daughter of Creative Cause, who is 3 for 4 in her career, and by all looks, in a 2018 debut, she got even better as a 3-year-old.
She was disqualified in her first start, but I mean, she was able to control here. But I think there's a chance coming off this win, and this is a much more competitive race. She could be the best 3-year-old filly on the country, but this is a tough field.
Yeah, it is a tough field. You know what? I bet her first time out when she got taken down, and then I immediately went to a future book and bet her to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf. She gave me all she could, and she got beat by her stablemate in Rushing Fall. But I think she's been better as a 3-year-old. They paid a lot of money for this daughter of Creative Cause, and she gets that gray from her daddy. And she's getting bet here at 6-5. She could be a handful, but there are some horses in here with a lot of talent.
She's going to be going longer than she has traveled yet, trying 1 1/8 for the first time, even though she showed a new dimension last time out. She was on the lead in that race. We'll see what happens today. Daddy is a legend, meanwhile, the 8 for George Weaver, making an equipment change today. Blinkers coming off.
Yeah, I mean, she got a very aggressive ride last time for Irad Ortiz. What he was doing was he was making sure he was tracking the undefeated Rushing Falls, the favorite, and you can't knock him for that.
No.
And it may have cost her the race, and both her and Rushing Fall. She's going to probably, with the blinkers off, Paul, drop back and make one run.
Yeah, I'm with you. It happened twice, Andy. You know, like he had to do it twice. He was trying to win the race. You can't argue for a jockey trying to win the race. Bravo tried to do it in the Appalachian, and Irad Ortiz tried to do it. They tried to go after Rushing Fall, and they paid for it in the end, as you can see. The 2 best horses are the horses that are dueling in front. They just get passed by the other horses. Daddy is a legend, is taking the blinkers off because I think George wants him to relax a little bit more.
And the winner is a good horse, trained by Neil Drysdale, just won the last race. And the winner finished ahead of the 9 in here, La Signera, for Brian Lynch, who didn't draw well for the 9 post because they hit the turn very quickly in the 1 1/8 races here on the turf. But she's a good horse, too. This is a loaded field. Even Chad Brown's maiden winner, Mighty Scarlet, she's another solid runner in here. This is a good one.
Yeah, Mighty Scarlet 10-1 right now for Chad Brown out as the 2. He also has the rail filly, Altea, who has been in back-to-back graded stakes here since she came over here to the U.S. Chad Brown locked and loaded for the grade 3. Wonder again what could be a real big weekend for the Eclipse Award-winning trainer. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Back on Belmont Park Live, our graded stakes action continues. And this is a look at Saturday when it really heats up. Belmont Stakes Day late pick 5 schedule begins with a grade 2 Woody Stevens, presented by Mohegan Sun. Longines Just a Game, all grade 1s from there on out. Run Happy Metropolitan Mile. Woodford Reserve Manhattan, and of course the Belmont Stakes presented by Naira Bets with Justify.
And what we like to call very tough, big fields that are wide open, we call them wars. Saturday is a day of wars out here. It is an absolutely sensational day of racing, and I only think that the Breeders' Cup card comes close to, or is better at all, is better than the Belmont card. It's a great card.
I'm with you, and it starts off with the bear of the race, the Woody Stevens. I mean, you have to go deep to get out of that race alone. And remember, you got to download a Naira account to get down, because this is the wager that you're going to want to play on Saturday.
You're the only winning ticket in the Naira Bets late pick 5, and you play it through Naira Bets, guaranteed $1 million in your account. So reason enough to get signed up and started. Grade 3 Wonder again is next. 1 1/8 on the inner turf. Chad Brown with 3 runners in this race, but all eyes will be on significant form. She went to the front last time out in her 2018 debut, but Chad Brown says he would prefer she had a target.
Well, unfortunately then for Chad Brown, and I don't think it's unfortunate, but for him, if he wants to have a target, the target scratched, the 4 Animosity, and she may find herself in the lead, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I like having the lead to slow pace.
Yeah, and the other horse in here, Mighty Scarlet, that has shown a little bit of tacticability is Chad's other horse in here, and I don't see anybody else really running with the gray hair Significant Storm. And if she gets into a nice little fluid stride, I think she's going to be a handful.
Time for a paddock report. We're going to check in with Maggie Wolfendale. This report brought to you by Run Happy. Maggie?
Thanks, Greg. And the Grade 3 Wonder again looks as though it might fall into the hands of Significant Form in here for trainer Chad Brown, though he does have backup singers to this striking gray filly. And look, I like her. I've been a pretty big fan of her, especially coming back now as a 3-year-old. This is actually the furthest she's going to have to travel, and as you guys were talking about, she could be forwardly placed here. We'll see. But I will say that she was running as a fresh horse last time, and granted, she got an easy lead. It's not as if she had to hunt for it or she was overly aggressive to get it, but she's kind of shaken off that kind of pre-race jitters that sometimes horses have when they come back off breaks. And she's a little bit more settled here in the Belmont paddock, which I like. And she's a little bit more fit as well. So I feel as though she's heading in the right direction. Chad will also send out number 1 in here, Altea, as she will get to 1 1/8 for the first time as well. Now, she's a little bit more on the smaller side, though she is that closer. But you have to wonder, sometimes these horses are just that kind of closing middle distance type of horse where they do get that early pace to close into. We'll see. I'm not enthralled with her traveling over the 9 furlongs, but she does look good here, and she does have a bit of energy here in the paddock as well. And then finally checking in with number 8, Daddy is a Legend, another one that I find intriguing, and I've followed her career closely for George Weaver, and she is, this is the first time I'm laying eyes on her now as a 3-year-old, and she has progressed so nicely. She's really filled out what was a big kind of angular frame as a 2-year-old, and she just looks stronger. And 2, she's nicely settled here in the paddock as well. So these fillies really just making the best impressions here for this Wonder again. Greg?
Well, Daddy's a Legend for George Weaver, only runner in this group who has tried this distance, and it was a win for her. That's where she broke her maiden at 1 1/8. That was at Keeneland back in her 2-year-old campaign. Grade 3 Wonder again is next when we return on Belmont Park Live. Stay tuned.
An undefeated graded stakes winner on the track, Algorithms was the nation's #1 sire of 2-year-olds in 2017 by percentage of winners. His top runners include multiple graded stakes performer Rich Mommy, winner of the Grade 3 Sugar Swirl, multiple stakes winner and graded stakes performer Recruiting Ready, and stakes winners He Hate Me and Sunset Ridge. In the ring, his yearlings have commanded prices up to $220,000. Algorithms, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off in New York, the premier state-bred program in the United States. When you own a New York bred, your horse can run for more than $44 million in purses, restricted to registered New York breds. And the New York program pays awards to breeders, owners, and stallion owners when their New York breds finish 1st, 2nd, or 3rd at New York tracks. We have the quality. Audible, no doubt about it. You have the opportunity. New York breds, get with the program, the best program.
You're watching Belmont Park Live. You can play along with all the races that we bring you each and every day by opening an Ira Bets account. $200 bonus using the promo code LIVE. $200 to bet any track, anywhere, anytime, right from home or with the NYRA Bets app. Again, use that promo code LIVE to take advantage and get $200 in your account at NYRABets.com. Post parade coming up for the Grade 3 Wonder Again and Even Money on significant form for trainer Chad Brown. Irad Ortiz Jr., her regular pilot, will be back on board today.
And she is the horse to beat. There's no argument against it. I picked her, but I do not think this is an easy race by any stretch.
No, I'm with you. I picked her too. I singled her in the exotics I'm out of now, but like Andy said, this is not an easy test for her. We're gonna see where she's at, put it that way.
And this is a prep for the Belmont Oaks, $1 million race we'll be running on Stars and Stripes Day, and that's July 7th. And that's a tremendous day of racing. Yeah. The Belmont Derby, the Suburban, tons of stakes, Greg.
It's a 1.25 miles on the turf, and Chad Brown, he won 3 of the first 4 runnings of that with some pretty good names. Lady Eli, New Money Honey, who both, by the way, won this race.
Yeah, no, he likes to use these preps. He's loyal to New York with running his horses, but he likes to use these preps for the Belmont Derby and Belmont Oaks.
Post parade brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more information, visit OCDpellets.com. We start with Altea, owned by Swift Thoroughbreds, trained by Chad Brown with Javier Castellano.
A deep closer who drew well on the rail, but she'll need to step forward to win this. Maybe the weakest of Chad Brown's 3.
Another Chad Brown runner, daughter of Scat Daddy Mighty Scarlet with Jose Ortiz.
It only took him one race to stretch this horse out even more, so the 1 1/8 should be right up her alley.
Christophe Furlan trains Amora Kane at 29-1 on the board.
A tough read here as she ships in from overseas. Obviously didn't run well in her last to Group 3.
The filly to beat, significant form. Her comeback effort as a 3-year-old. She aired by 6 1/4.
I'm going to be very interested to see where she's placed early because she has a chance to wire this field.
And Dina Del Sur, Giants Causeway filly for Tom Albertrani.
This horse is just regally bred for Don Alberto stable, and I think getting back on the turf, this is an overlay here. 15-1 is a good price.
Spinning Top is the 7, trained by Troy Green.
You don't see too many horses looking to win back-to-back Belterra to Belmont.
Good call by Imagine Racing. Here's the 8. Daddy is a Legend again, owns a win at 1 1/8, trained by George Weaver. Blinkers off today.
Yes, 3rd time Lasix, you're right. Blinkers do come off, and will this filly move forward? Another daughter here of Scat Daddy.
La Signar, Brian Lynch, Joelle Rosario.
She's a real wild card in here and a talented runner. Whatever she does today, keep your eye on this horse going forward.
Camilla Princess, trained by Oscar Gonzalez for Grupo 7C Stable.
She's sort of the Rodney Dangerfield, isn't she? She never really gets any respect at all, but she's 4 for 6 lifetime, and she's 4 for 5 over the turf.
To downstairs to Gabby for more on the Grade 3 Wonder Again.
We're here with trainer Brian Lynch, who does send out the number 9, La Signaire. And Brian, she looked like a bit of a handful here in the paddock. Is that just her?
Yeah, she's definitely feeling good today, which is good. At Keeneland, she was very quiet, and so I think she knows what's going on today. She's got a race under her belt, and so this is a test in the waters. It's a little deeper spot, but if you're going to get an invitation into the Belmont Oaks, this is somewhere we have to go.
What did you think of her stateside debut?
I thought it was very encouraging. She broke a little tardy, got shuffled back going into the first turn and made a good run to finish a good second. And the form of the race was good because the filly that win it come back and win the Edgewood. So that gives us the confidence to try her in this spot.
Looking forward to Saturday with Unchained Melody and the Fibs. What could you talk about her? She was so talented last year. Did you think that she just needed her race off of the layoff?
Yeah, I think so. She's a very big, heavy filly, and she's probably a bit deceiving in her work. She does things quite easily. But, to me, she looked like she was going to get tired at the quarter pole, but she hung on to only be beaten less than 5 lengths. So she's trained on very well in between. I don't think there's going to be a lot of speed in the race. So if she inherits the lead and she gets comfortable, I'd look for a real good race out of her.
Exciting to see her back. Best of luck here.
Thank you.
Back to you, Greg.
Gabby, thanks. La Signaire at 9-2 on the board as we get set for the Grade 3 Wonder Again. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back with more coming up. 10% winner's bonus on the Belmont Stakes trifecta at NyraBets.com. We'll be back.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm. Eclipse champion Blaine notched over $4.3 million in earnings, including this historic victory over Zenyatta. Now he's making a name for himself as an internationally successful stallion. Recent top runners include multiple graded stakes winner Fault and French Classic winner Senga. In the ring, his yearlings have sold up to $350,000. Among the top sires of his crop by lifetime graded stakes horses, his 2018 stud fee offers outstanding value. Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live here on MSG Plus, presented by Claiborne Farm. Grade 3 Wonder again, just 2 minutes to post. As we see the return of significant form, making her second start of 2018 for Chad Brown. She is 4-5 on the board, but Chad Brown with two others in here, including Mighty Scarlet, a maiden winner last out, tackling one of the stars of his barn in his 3-year-old filly division.
Yeah, and as Paul pointed out earlier, this horse is actually cutting back in distance. She went 1 mile and 3/16. She got an 87 buyer winning that race. Significant Other got a 91 buyer. And Mighty Scarlet beat a horse. The horse who finished third in there came back to break her maiden at Churchill Downs, and she improved her speed figure. This is a very impressive horse. And I'm not saying she's going to win here, but keep your eye on her. And she's a big price, and I think she's going to run very well.
I can't agree more. I can't believe this horse is 11-1. I think this is Chad's other charge. And how many times do we see Chad run 1-2-3 or 1-2 when he has both of them in? And Jose Ortiz last time just did not waste any time. He made a move early because he knew he was best. He opened up, and he continued to open up because the first time he got caught a little bit and the other horse got away from him. I don't think that's going to happen today. I would look for Mighty Scarlet to be a little bit closer to the pace because he's going to know that there's no other really any speed in here.
Meanwhile, Daddy is a Legend. She got beat by Chad Brown's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf winner, Rushing Fall, couple starts back. And again, owns a win at 1 1/8 miles.
She's very good. I know she won at 1 1/8 miles. I think she's better going shorter.
She is 4-1 on the board right now. Let's send it downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, it's always nice when the horses that you like in the paddock come out here and warm up very well too. And that was the case with Altea, Significant Form, and Daddy is a Legend. But the other horse that caught my eye just in her overall movement was number 6 in here, Dina del Sur. Now, Tom Albertrani and Don Alberto teamed up earlier on this card with an impressive maiden winner. They're all here too, which is nice to see. But this filly just really kind of puffed herself up and bowed her neck and just was moving so nicely as she does return out of that grade 1 Ashland to the turf here, her preferred surface. I think she might be able to get a piece of this at what is a decent price here on the board at 20-1 for this Wonder again.
It wouldn't surprise us on a day like this, the kind of prices we have seen. It would be kind of in flow with what's happened so far. 20-1 right now on Dina del Sur, the 6 for Tom Albertrani.
It's a nice horse. This is a tough spot for her, but she's a big price.
Daddy is a legend. The 8 moving in, but significant form for trainer Chad Brown, the one to beat on the board. The 5 horse at 4-5. Will she go to the front? She showed that new dimension last time out. She has the quickness to do it. Let's send it upstairs for the call of the Grade 3 Wonder. Again, the voice of New York Racing, Larry Colmus.
La Signori has moved into the starting gate here as Amor goes in. Now the favorite, Significant Form, takes her spot in line at odds of 4-5 right now out there. And there's one left to load. That'll be Camilla Princess, who will take up position in the outside stall. Goes in. They're all in line. They're off in the Wonder again. Not a good beginning for Amor, who hopped in the air as the gates opened. Significant Form had a very good beginning, and La Signori is going to go up and after the lead. Opening up now to lead by a length and a half on Significant Form. Then Daddy is a Legend on the outside of Dina Del Sur. Break of another 2. And then comes Mighty Scarlet as they make their way to the backstretch. Altea next on the inside of Camilla Princess. Break of another 2 back to Spinning Top and slow starting Amor trails through a walking opening quarter mile of 26.36 seconds onto the backstretch. La Signori and Joelle Rosario out there by 2. Rod Ortiz Jr. and the heavy favorite Significant Form settle into stride well. Now 3 lengths behind this pace setter. Daddy is a Legend tracks in third, and Dina Del Sur is fourth by 2. Then Mighty Scarlet, Altea to the inside. Camilla Princess is next, and then Amor and Spinning Top, 50.95 for a half mile. Isolated out here is La Signori in front by 3. Significant Form continues to track intently, though, in second. And then it's Daddy is a Legend third on the outside of Dina Del Sur. Mighty Scarlet is next. Camilla Princess on the outside of Altea. Amor is sent along, and the trailer is Spinning Top. Around the far turn, La Signori still there. Significant Form getting closer, and now she makes her move and makes it in hand as they come to the top of the stretch. Significant Form to the neck of La Signori, and Daddy is a Legend is moving up on their outside, and Dina Del Sur is down toward the rail. Significant Form on the outside of a stubborn La Signori, who keeps the lead in the final furlong. La Signori on the inside, trying to fend off Significant Form. Late speed coming down toward the inside from Mighty Scarlet, down to the line. La Signori held on to win. Significant Form has to settle for second. Mighty Scarlet and Daddy is a Legend behind them in 148.84.
Crafty ride from Joelle Rosario. Got to the front with La Signori and able to finish.
We've seen this before from Joelle. He is so good at taking horses that don't look like they're speeds and going to the front. I'll tell you something. Significant Form had a good trip behind her, and she looked like she was rolling by, Paul, and this horse drew away from her at the end. This is a good horse.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, you got to get... Irad Ortiz decided, okay, let's make this into a 2-horse race. When the 9 went to the front end, and I saw the first fraction of 26 and then 50, Irad's basically telling the whole world, okay, I'm going to let the 9 go here, and I'm going to make this into a 2-horse race. And he did, but couldn't go by Joelle Rosario because he always has something left.
34 and 3 and 3.3 for the last 3/8 of a mile. Tough to gain when a horse in the lead's going that fast.
Yeah. La Signori got to the front, then got tested from Significant Form, and she was able to put her away. Grade 3 Wonder again winner. La Signori. We'll be back with prices right after this.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With NyraBets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. NyraBets, racing's best play.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warthrock. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 mile at Keeneland, then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. His runners include stakes winner Stardoza, along with a growing list of talented young runners. At public auction, his yearlings have sold up to $200,000. Data Link, standing at Claiborne Park.
Back on Belmont Park Live. And an upset in the Great Three Wonder again. La Signore for Brian Lynch. Joelle Rosario with the win.
What a ride here by Joelle, putting this filly on the front end. We saw earlier a horse come from dead last for Mike Dini, and Jose Lascano put this horse in the front end, went wire to wire. La Signore did this almost the same thing, came from way out of it last time. Not today, gate to wire. If you're alive in any exotics, I am rooting for you. They are paying giant in the pick 4. And you can't be alive in the pick 5, Wolfie.
No, nobody alive in the Naira Bets late pick 5. We have a carryover going into Friday of our Belmont Stakes Racing Festival of $62,802. So get your handicapping hats on and work hard and late tonight.
Right after you go to NairaBets.com and sign up if you're not a member. Otherwise, you won't be able to take advantage of what's going to be really a huge positive equity bet.
Yeah, and again, if you're not part of Naira Bets on Saturday, even how about a million reasons to play the Naira Bets late pick 5? If you're the only winning ticket, you play through Naira Bets, guaranteed minimum of $1 million.
And people think it can't happen. Well, nobody's hitting it today. It can happen.
No, it can happen. Listen, if we were on here on Saturday and we got these results, somebody would be alive for about $1 million. So it is the best bet in racing right now, and you got to get your Naira account open before
Great
tomorrow.
news, by the way. Look at that beautiful shot. Looks like we're going to see that as well on Belmont Stakes Day on Saturday. It looks like we got all clear for good weather. Rain going to hold off until likely later in the night. So it's going to be a beautiful Saturday afternoon by all accounts. So get on out here if you can for Belmont Stakes Day on Saturday. One of the most tremendous days of action in the entire calendar year anywhere in the country.
It's an incredible card. There isn't a single race that's being run in that card that wouldn't be the best race run on any average card, and even on some big cards. It's a great day of racing.
You made a great point. It rivals the Breeders' Cup. The 2 days of racing that you're going to see in the next couple days is Breeders' Cup type racing, Breeders' Cup type horses, Breeders' Cup type fields, and the best horses we're going to see in North America.
And a chance to witness history as well, and looks like we're going to have great weather for it on Saturday also, so it's all good. Hope you enjoyed the show. It only gets better. Belmont Stakes Racing Festival underway. Wesley Ward having a say in the matter. We have a lot more great racing coming up. On Sunday is when we are back. We will see you then at 4 Eastern on Sunday. Enjoy Belmont Stakes weekend, everyone.